Thank you very much. I'm going to just follow on from Sue's comments and hopefully help you see how basic science is translating into potential treatments for FD and what you can do to help speed up that process. So my take-home message from this talk is be hopeful. Drugs are in the pipeline, things are happening, we're moving at a faster pace than ever before. New treatments are being discovered thanks to our partnerships with PTC, but also outside of PTC, so there are different options and things are entering the clinic. FD is a rare disease, so we're building the foundation so that we can work together, not only with our basic science and translational partners, but also with other clinical sites across the world. And I want you to understand how sharing your information is really going to help us speed up getting these new treatments into the clinic. So when it comes to our approach to FD at the center and indeed at the other sites, we have to do good science, right? We must become a master of the disease, meaning we are challenged with understanding every single aspect of FD, and that's our work. And to do that, we have to collaborate in a multidisciplinary team because FD affects all the organ systems. We have to know if a treatment is really working, right? And without you, as Sue iterated, we won't get new treatments into the clinic. So Dr. Kaufmann showed you this slide last year and explained the different types of studies. So you all know that an interventional clinical trial is something where you apply a treatment. And treatments can be for different things. Treatments can be to improve symptoms, or they can also be what we call disease-modifying treatments. And I'm going to explain what disease-modifying treatments are. They are drugs or other therapies that can prevent, stop, or slow the progression of the disease. They target the cause of the disease process. They prolong survival, improve life, and in order to find these drugs, particularly in a disease that is as rare as FD, we need ingenuity, we need scale, and we need a different approach. So when it comes to developing new treatments for FD, and particularly those that are going to target the cause of the disease, we have what's known as a pipeline. We have basic science, translational scientists, and our medical team all working together. And they're looking at the cause of FD, and they're finding strategies to fix FD, and they're testing it, as Sue mentioned, in animals or cell models. We're partnering with industry, our partners at PTC Therapeutics, that are making these compounds both safe and more potent. And our job at the center is to find what we call outcome measures, so we can do clinical trials. And if these treatments are effective, we can make them available to everybody. So this is the point where we're at now. We've come a long way, but we need to now do our work to identify the outcome measures. So what are outcome measures? Outcome measures are ways to measure a patient's current health status, to track how this changes over time, and they should be sensitive enough to evaluate whether treatments improve a particular feature of the disease. So we've had a number of communications out about the importance of the natural history study, and we're using this as a way to find good outcome measures in FD. So, of course, I found this quote from Winston Churchill, and I love telling my son quotes from Winston Churchill. And he says something that I think is particularly important. Like, the farther backwards we can look, the farther forwards we can see. And that's what we're doing with the natural history study. We have a database, right? This database is the living, breathing soul of our clinical research enterprise. Of course, the database was designed by Dr. Axelrod, but then brought into what it is today by Dr. Kaufmann, and it's managed by Miguel Perez, who's our data manager. We have the gene mutation, and we know that the gene mutation produces different problems at different ages, and what we're trying to do with the database is to capture those from every patient and learn how best to measure them and track them. You will all receive, before you come to the clinic, the FD questionnaire, because there's different ways in which you can contribute to adding information to the natural history study. The FD questionnaire, I have to thank Vivian, who has worked tirelessly to make this fillable. It includes your voice, it captures your treatments, it captures what you think about your symptoms alongside the clinical information. We also store within the natural history database information collected during the evaluations at the annual visits by Dr. Palmer and Dr. Balgobin, who take the lead on that, and Dr. Maria Kotrina, who is recording tests and keeping that information tracked with our natural history study and collecting those all-important samples of blood that we're partnering with PTC to try and find ways to measure the disease in blood. And we hope sooner or later to be able to roll out an FD app that will allow you to also transmit your information, because we need to get more advanced in collecting, in serving you, in telling us what's going on. So how are the ways in which you can speed up process? As Sue said, we need you, right? We need you to participate in the natural history study because we can use this information to plan trials that have the best chance of success. And through abundant and thorough natural history study data, some diseases have been helped in avoiding a placebo arm of treatment, so that means few patients have to take a sugar pill rather than the active agent in a clinical trial. So this natural history study data is really important for that. It can also, we can use it, right? We can use it as our benchmarks to show whether a new drug actually slows the progression of FD, and it can help us get the drug approved faster. We're, of course, as you know, as we've spoken about, we're using FD as a window, the eye as a window into FD. 88% of the patients have visual impairment, 29%, almost 1/3, are legally blind. You heard about the contribution of the corneal scarring, but we also know that there's cell death of the optic nerve. So this is the data we see. This is all your information. The years you've been coming to the clinic and having those OCT scans, we're using this information. We're using this information to track the progression of the disease. You see that when you're younger, you have a very rapid progression. When you're 20, you have a slightly slower, and then it sort of tailors out. This is good news in terms of it's not as rapidly progressive as certain other disorders of the eye, but it also means it's difficult to measure in a short-term clinical trials. So although we think the eye is a great target for FD, we still need to find other fast outcome measures that are going to help us to see if a treatment is working. Let me emphasize that to you in another way. If we have to wait 5 years to show whether a treatment is really working, what if that treatment is not working in 5 years, right? We don't have that time. We need things that can reliably, quickly, and fast tell us whether the approaches we're having are working, or we need to go back, rethink them, and reapply them in a different way. So this is a natural history study. This is what we hope to do when we apply a treatment. If it can slow the disease progression, we may change that trajectory. And better still, what if we can restore function? So those are the things that we're really aiming at, and that's how we're using that natural history data to be able to prove we have efficacious treatments. So this, I took this picture when I was on a recent trip to Israel to try and speak there about the importance of the natural history study and collaboration. This is at Hadassah Medical Center, and it's young boys having their checkup of their eye. We've advanced a little bit more than that now, which is good to see. But we still have to do more. We need biomarkers that are sensitive to change in 1 year. We need to capture real-world patient experiences, which is why that questionnaire is important. We know that there was this dispersion of the Jewish population carrying the FD founder mutation from the Pale of Settlement, and we're working with sites in Tel HaShomer. This year, I'm really pleased to tell you, we got our first approval for the natural history study in Israel. So we now have patients from Israel that are participating in the study. We have a site at Tel HaShomer that is fully approved, and we have a site at Hadassah that is in the final stages of approvals. So that means they can start sending their data soon. We also have a fantastic collaborator that many of you may recognize as Dr. Alexandra Gonzalez Duarte, who did the Autonomic Disorders Fellowship with us, and she is taking care of the FD patients that are in Mexico. So we're fortunate, although we have the population there, that we have a good, excellent person that we trained who's collaborating with us. So this is in your hands, right? I mean, we all can speak about the importance of the natural history, why you need to participate, but please sign up, okay? There are a number of ways you can do this, and Dr. Katrina has been instrumental in making sure that we don't miss one single patient, right? You can enroll at a center either in the US with us, in either site in Israel or in Mexico, or you can consent to be followed by phone. So if you're listening to this as a broadcast and you want to be part of the natural history study and you can't make it to a clinical visit for whatever reason, you can still call us at the center and you can still enroll in in the study and be a part of it. You can send us your doctor's records, any records, like admissions for whatever it may be, for sleep study reports, lung doctor reports. We want that information. It's very valuable to us and it helps the rest of the population. And finally, complete the FD questionnaire annually and give us that sample of blood that we're also taking from your parents too, to help us find those all-important blood-borne biomarkers of the disease process. So my take-home message: hope, participate, share, collaborate, and stay connected. I just want to take a moment to let you know that, you know, we are putting regular updates of the natural history study and indeed like our work that comes out of the center on our blog, so you can find like information about the research that is coming out. It's all there, so I encourage you to go to the site, sign up, and stay connected with us, because we really need you to do that. Thank you very much.